Open during the winter months, Tuesday through Sunday, starting at 11 a.m., closed Monday. With 2 state-of-the-art simulators, Franco's is your destination for indoor golf. The Full Line Pro Shop is also open for your shopping convenience with gift certificates available. The outdoor range is also open year-round, weather permitting. Call 724-438-6651 to reserve your indoor golf tee times. Franco's is located on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Stop and see them today.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991 for the fine art of dentistry.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Your local station, 590 WMBS. I hear voices in my head.
Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, the voice of reason, Dave Dunaway. It's Thursday, January 8th, 2026, and you're listening to The Sports Voice. This feels so awkward. I'm trying to figure out if I can remember how to do this. I got to get the chair in. It's been a while. A couple of weeks off, a little vacation. Nick Barczyk called it a hiatus. It just so happened Christmas and New Year's were both on a Thursday, so I got a couple of weeks off to finish out 2025 and to kick off 2026, and I missed a lot in that amount of time. Somehow the Pittsburgh Steelers made the playoffs, the real playoffs. A lot of people out there saying that last week was somehow a playoff game. Yet not really, and when you talk about winning the AFC North, they've been there and done that. Hasn't mattered when they've gotten to the postseason. So this is a totally different atmosphere, a totally different season, and the season in particular where everyone's favorite coach, Mike Tomlin, does not have a winning record. In addition to that, the Pittsburgh Penguins have had a huge losing streak, and now they've got a big winning streak. Talk about up and down all over the roller coaster. The Penguins are hot right now and just announced a little while earlier Evgeny Malkin should return to the lineup tonight. Yes, it's still not 100% confirmed, but he is back. Ville Koivunen sent down to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. So all indications point to the fact that he will play at home against New Jersey in between the gigantic line of Anthony Mantha and Justin Brazeau. The Pittsburgh Pirates making some moves today, avoiding arbitration with a handful of players, including O'Neal Cruz, who accepted $3.2 million to not go to arbitration. But if there was anyone I could imagine that could potentially lose an arbitration case, it's O'Neal Cruz. They also agreed to terms with Dennis Santana, Joey Bart, Justin Lawrence, and they formally introduced Dave Kingman. I'm sorry, I mean Rob Deere. Oh, no, wait. Ryan O'Hearn, that's his name. They formally announced Ryan O'Hearn, their big multi-year free agent acquisition. So we'll talk a little bit about the Pirates. Plus, we're getting closer and closer to the NCAA football's national champion. We've got the semifinals, one game tonight, one game tomorrow night. Some surprises in there, maybe for a lot of people, maybe not, depending on how you thought teams receiving a bye were going to fare when they finally had to play. But we'll talk a little NCAA football also. The transfer portal has opened up. A lot of movement. A lot of movement from Penn State, a lot of movement to Penn State, a lot of people hoping to move on from Pitt. So we'll talk about what we know so far. Some big names in college football entered into that transfer portal. Because it's the new year, because it's January, we're starting to get closer and closer to basketball season. So Nick Barczyk is back, reviving the NBA/WNBA roundup. Not sure if they're in season or not, but Nick knows, and he will let you know by the end of our show. We are back. We are live. Hey, throw me right on TV as we come back as well. Yes, radio and television, everyone. The Sports Voice is here live and in living color. It's hard to believe. It's been so long. It's been 2025 since I've been on the air, and I'm sure people are eagerly anticipating me having to say something good about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll put it like this. If they win a real playoff game, then maybe I'll say something good. And I think they've been handed probably the best possible opponent they could to actually get a win, and that's the Houston Texans, just because of the question marks on offense for Houston. There are no question marks on defense. Houston has the best defense in the league. Aaron Rodgers is going to find that out firsthand Monday night. But the AFC, we've talked about it time and time again, it's a little bit of a surprise. There are a bunch of teams sitting at the top that I think at the beginning of the year most people would not have even picked for the playoffs, let alone to be one of the top 4 seeds, one of the division winners in this thing. Look at Denver. Look at New England. Look at Jacksonville. Did you have them on your bingo card? Because I certainly didn't. I thought maybe Denver could sneak in. I certainly didn't have New England or Jacksonville making the playoffs this year. So some surprises, maybe an opportunity for someone like Josh Allen to finally be able to take the Buffalo Bills through the AFC, get them into the Super Bowl, or maybe an opportunity for Aaron Rodgers. That's what a lot of people are saying, especially a lot of the locals. So the hope is there. 2 big wins to end the season. Oh, no, wait a minute. They lost to Cleveland. That's right. Not 2 big wins to end the season. But hey, they did stop Myles Garrett from breaking that sack record against them. Seemed like that was the only thing they were concerned about when they were playing the Cleveland Browns. TJ Watt is back. Everybody's back. Everybody's happy. The Pittsburgh Steelers coasting into the playoffs because a rookie kicker mixed a field goal with 0 time left on the clock for the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of coaching changes already in the NFL. We'll talk about the carousel that has revolved around, including the AFC North. Both John Harbaugh and Kevin Stefanski fired earlier this week. So we will look at some who are gone and the shock of some who are still there when it is all said and done. In the end, the Pittsburgh Steelers manipulated the system as well as they could to make sure that last game of the season was crucial. This is a team that halfway through the year, everyone said, oh, this is a shoo-in. Baltimore's had all of these injuries. They're way under 500, I believe 1-6 at one point. Cincinnati lost Joe Burrow, their star for the bulk of the season. And Cleveland, well, they were just Cleveland. So this was supposed to be just a coast job for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this division. But yet, as is the case with Mike Tomlin teams, it just wasn't. It came down to the end. It came down to the wire. And of course, everyone will tell you, well, a W's a W. That's all that matters. Well, if that's all that matters, you would think the local fan base would be more concerned why there aren't more W's that happen in the postseason. Let's not forget, 18 years a head coach for Mike Tomlin, 4 of those seasons, there were actually postseason victories that took place. 1 Super Bowl, 1 lost Super Bowl, and just a handful of other memories. So will this year be different? A lot of people think that it will because of Aaron Rodgers, because of his been there, done that. Remember, Rodgers in his entire career has won 1 Super Bowl. That was the one Tomlin lost because running back Rashard Mendenhall fumbled it to the Green Bay Packers. That was a game that it appeared the Steelers were going to win, but in the end, it becomes the only Super Bowl victory for Aaron Rodgers in his career. So can he revitalize himself with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, up to this point, he really hasn't. Probably the smartest thing that I've ever seen Mike Tomlin do in his tenure was allow Aaron Rodgers to start calling plays the last few weeks of the season, which he has himself said 90% are called from the line. You saw that issue at the end of the game where they had to burn a timeout because of personnel getting down into the goal line, right around that area where they could potentially score. And according to Rodgers, Arthur Smith's job apparently isn't to be the offensive coordinator. It's to assign which personnel is going to come out in different packages. So Rodgers wasn't able to make a decision on what to do because the personnel had not adequately come onto the field, which then made Rodgers waste a timeout. And as the camera crews picked up, we got to see him scream at Arthur Smith, who apparently is now Rodgers' assistant over on the sidelines. So Rodgers, don't be fooled. Rodgers is making the calls. This is not Arthur Smith. If Arthur Smith was making the calls, the Steelers probably would have been eliminated from postseason competition a few weeks ago. Rodgers has taken this over. He's doing it. He's a smart guy. You know what I think of Rodgers. If you've listened to the show for years, you know he's on my Mount Rushmore of fake, but at least everyone figured out how fake he was a few years ago. So now he's just Aaron Rodgers, but he is a smart guy. He does have a lot of talent, still has a cannon for the arm, and actually showed that he has a little bit of mobility. It looked like a young Tom Brady running around there in the pocket trying to elude the pass rush that really never came. Here's the reality of the situation. If you really want to take a look at last week and you want to look at the Cleveland game and you want to look ahead to Houston, it does come down to defense, but not the Pittsburgh defense. It comes down to the opposing defense. If you have a defense that has a pass rush, the Steelers are going to be in trouble. They're going to put 8 guys on the line, which means they're going to have less weapons, and you're going to see Rodgers hurrying to get plays off. When you saw the Cleveland Browns come into town, Cleveland, they had a pass rush, and they had Rodgers baffled numerous times throughout the game. Baltimore had no pass rush. They haven't had a pass rush all year. Rodgers had infinite amount of time in the pocket. He was able to check off his stop target and go to guys like Scotty Miller, Adam Thielen, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, or Pat Freiermuth, because we know the top target's always Jonnu Smith, or Kenneth Gainwell. So if it's not getting thrown to them, you know that he checked off and went elsewhere. I can assure you the Houston Texans have the best pass rush in the NFL. This is the best defense in the NFL. They're physical. They hurt people. They've hurt people all year. If I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm not looking forward to this. I know the local fan base is. I know the local media, the hacks on TV and the radio are. I heard just the other day somebody with their infinite knowledge say, "Oh, this is going to be a great game for the Steelers. Houston, that's a warm weather team. These guys aren't used to playing in the cold." CJ Stroud played for Ohio State. Nico Collins played for Michigan. Nick Chubb played the bulk of his career with the Cleveland Browns. These guys have all played in the cold. It's not 1960 and there are not bubbles around NFL stadiums. They'll be fine playing in the cold. If that's your rationale as to why you think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win this game, then I think you're going to be very disappointed at the end. Is Houston a better team than the Steelers? Yes. Is it clear cut? No, not as much as it would be. As I said at the beginning, this is probably the best possible matchup the Pittsburgh Steelers could have received for the first round of the playoffs. But I guess the big question, Nick Barczyk, does it even matter?
Well, I'm not sure if it's the best possible matchup. Houston does have the best defense in the league, and you have a 42-year-old mobile quarterback.
Jacksonville?
A team that has a lesser defense? I don't know. I mean...
Are they in the playoffs, any of them? There's some good defensive teams. I'll tell you, it's a bad defense, New England.
Yes, they do. Yes, they're winning because they're scoring a lot of points, and Drake May's having, I think, besides for Stafford, the best season of anyone in the league. So there's that. But yeah, Houston, I guess, is a good draw because they've never been on the road. This Ryan Stroud version of the Texans have never been on the road for a playoff game. They've always won the division, but they did not this year. Jacksonville really came out of nowhere. Liam Cohen, I think, is slam dunk coach of the year, resurrecting that awful franchise. And I think if they upset Buffalo, that could be the end of Sean McDermott's reign there, and Josh Allen may be, wanting to get out of that organization. But back to the Steelers. The game Sunday, it is what it is. They got in the way they got in. Loop missing that kick. Yeah, there's some luck involved, but it wasn't lucky that Rodgers turned back the clock. I thought he was phenomenal in that second half after looking awful in the first half. The whole team did. I thought once they were stopped on that last play before the halftime with the Gainwell play, that they had no shot of winning that game, but it turned into a shootout, and 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers did just enough to win, and actually as good as Lamar was down the stretch, outdueled Lamar. And it cost Harbaugh's job. So there's that. But moving on to this game, you're right. Stroud's played at Ohio State. They are a warm weather indoor team, but I don't think that's going to be a major issue. Their defense is so good, though, that I think it will be an issue for the Steelers, even with Metcalf back. And I don't know if he can replicate what he did down the stretch in that Baltimore game this week. It's going to be tough against that Houston D. So it's going to be a really tough matchup. I think Houston's a worthy road favorite by 3.5.
Well, I'm going to take us back to the Baltimore game just very quickly, because I think we all, and I'm not just saying Nick and myself, but I think anyone out there listening right now, everyone is fooling themselves if they don't come to the realization of why the Pittsburgh Steelers won that game against Baltimore. It's not because of any of that. It's because Kyle Hamilton got hurt.
You're right.
And when
That's
Kyle
the main
Hamilton
reason.
was in that game,
You're right.
There was nothing that they could do. Rodgers, brilliant. The 2 plays after Hamilton gets hurt, throws 2 balls across the middle,
Right.
wide open. If Hamilton's in that game, they lose.
You're right. I forgot to address that. You're right.
Yeah,
That was the
I
main
mean-
reason. More than the kick. More than anything.
More than anything, that was the main. And it's hard to say that because you don't think one guy can have that much of an impact.
He did.
But this defense has no pass rush. I mean, there's no pressure whatsoever on a quarterback. Rodgers had all day.
He did.
Pretty much most of the time. They lost, I think, 4 guys on that defense through the course of that game that did not come back. Although Nate Wiggins kept trying to come back, but he came back more and more a shell of himself every single time. But that's the reason why. And I think when you look at Houston, there's not a Kyle Hamilton and nobody else. There's Stingley, there's Anderson.
Stingley's
I mean,
so
you
good.
start going through, there's star after star on that defense. And I don't think you can bank on the fact that, hey, if one guy goes down, now all of a sudden we're going to flip the script on this thing. I think Rodgers is talented enough, even at this age, to figure out a way, because we know he's now the offensive coordinator. I think he can put together a game plan, but the problem is a lot of the personnel around him. When he decides to check off of what he originally calls, most of those guys can't figure it out. First and foremost, Jonnu Smith. And secondly, who's back this week that also can't figure the routes out half the time, DK Metcalf. And that is, if those are your 2 main targets, and you've got to run the play exactly as you call it on the line for them to be able to know what to do in that situation, that's an issue, especially when you're playing the best defense in football, which is who they're going up against this week with the Houston Texans. That, to me, I think it's too limited. I think what you saw against Baltimore, where he infused Thielen and Miller and Valdez-Scantling, and we can laugh about those guys all we want, but they were where they needed to be.
Yeah.
Look at the Super Bowls New England won with Chris Hogan and Julian Edelman and Wes Welker. You can laugh at those guys too, but wherever Brady told him to be, they were there, and so was the ball. And Rodgers will have it there as well, but those guys have to know what they're doing. I would go more with the guys that I trust. Kenneth Gainwell. He was MVP of the Steelers.
Team MVP, Kenneth Gainwell.
Hey, I made fun of Gainwell at the beginning of the year, but honestly, look at that team. Who else is MVP on that team?
Well, I would have given it to Rodgers.
Well, that's the only other choice.
Yeah,
There's no other.
Boring. I know why they picked Gainwell. Yeah,
Look
or
at that
Boswell,
expensive.
frankly.
Look at the expensive defense. Anybody there getting MVP?
Hey, Cam Hayward's played well the last.
He's
few
played.
weeks. He has,
but not all year. It's not been
he's
consistent.
old. He's saving it for the most important games.
Yes,
he's a billion years old.
Yes. Well, and of course he's the fullback. What, the pusher?
Yeah.
What is he
the
on
real
that?
brotherly show. He's pushing his brother.
He should
forward.
just pick him up and toss him. I'm sure they've done that when they were kids from time to time.
Connor Hayward, gotta love it.
Yeah, the Steelers one of the few teams that most of the time find a way to screw that thing up.
Yeah.
But they did get it. There was some success
They
with
did.
it this past weekend. So, yeah, I mean, when you look at it, you've got to have it clicking. That there can't be any mistakes. I think when you look at Houston, can they make a few mistakes and still win? Yes. Can Pittsburgh? No. It's got to be flawlessly executed, and I just don't think they have the personnel to pull that off. I mean, you've got a no-name at left tackle who's outplayed your first-round pick. That's a problem. The problem with and I'll tell you another problem with the Steelers. You know who's been inactive the last couple of weeks? Roman Wilson and Caleb Johnson. These are second and third round picks that you're wasting.
Nowhere to be
because
found.
you can't develop anyone, and you're bringing guys off the scrap heap, and they're actually performing. And that's good that you're able to find these guys on the scrap heap. But could you imagine if you had more pedigreed talent in there? Harmon's looked good. He's clear cut rookie of the year. He's missed some time.
Yeah, well,
but
who
the
else?
time he's been in there, he's looked really, really, really good.
Right.
I think Troy Fatanu, I mean, he's still technically a rookie because he missed all of last year, but I've seen him progress a little bit. Frazier looks good. So when you look at young players, though, that's it. Porter's been hit or miss. That's off and on. Still handsy like he's always been. And you start looking at these other guys like Duggar. I mean, it's what I told you 3 weeks ago is the same thing here. If you stand them out there with nothing to do, they're going to look better because they don't have an assignment. All they do is follow the ball. When you have them cover somebody, whether it's Ramsey, Duggar, Samuel, they get burned right down the field, and that happened against Baltimore. Flowers. It's going to happen. Nico Collins is going to eat this secondary alive if you give CJ Stroud time. And if you don't give him time, then you're looking at a guy like Dalton Schultz across the middle. You've got the two young receivers from Iowa State, Higgins and Noel. There's talent on this Houston team.
Woody Marks.
And a guy that kills the Steelers all the time, Christian Kirk.
That's
Don't
right.
count him out.
He's still around, yeah.
They don't have a running game worth anything, but how many times has a team played Pittsburgh like Cincinnati, who was the worst in the league in rushing, and the starting running back runs for over 100 yards? You want a sure bet in this one? Woody Marks is going to have over 100 against this
Wow.
Pittsburgh Steeler defense. That's a sure. Well, unless they play Chubb. There's nobody to hold Chubb up for Minka Fitzpatrick to take out his knees this time.
Right.
So, I don't know how they're going to alternate those two running backs. But, in the end, if Pittsburgh wants to win this game, they've got to be flawless.
Right.
And I don't see a scenario. I don't care if it is D'Amico Ryans. I don't see a scenario where Mike Tomlin can outcoach anyone in a game that matters that much.
Well, certainly the Steelers have the experience factor with, as you mentioned, the head coach and the quarterback. It's not good experience on Tomlin's part. And yeah, they're both defensive coaches in an offensive league, but Houston's defense is just so overwhelming. They're a pack of pit bulls, as I heard a football analyst describe it this year, an NFL Network guy, and he's right. So the Steelers, and I'll say this about Rodgers as well, as he gets older, he's not turning the ball over. He never threw a lot of interceptions, and he hasn't down the stretch, and that's the key to a Steelers win. As an underdog, you have to avoid turnovers and get takeaways. They got a takeaway last week of the Hayward tip on the Lamar pass. Watt got the interception. They need more of that, and special teams is going to be big. You need to limit the mistakes there, and you can't have missed kicks. So, yeah, when you're an underdog in a playoff game, you need things to break your way. Houston is the better team with the better, in his prime quarterback at the moment. They have the best defense, as we keep harping on. They have a better record. They're just the better team, and they have better personnel. So if the Steelers want to win as an underdog, you have to avoid mistakes. That's their only way. You're right.
And not that I would think Aaron Rodgers is going to make a ton of mistakes, but he's going to be under the gun. They will have so much pressure on him. I don't even know if 8 linemen are going to be able to block out the Houston Texans that are coming. And one thing we saw with Rodgers, when there's pressure, that's when he struggles. He throws the ball up for grabs or out of bounds. He'll take sacks trying to avoid. And really, I think on defense, that's all Houston needs to do. I mean, who really is a threat outside of Metcalf as far as those receivers go?
Who's fresh? He's had 2 weeks off. I just hope he doesn't drop a big pass and go swipe another fan.
And he has phenomenal stats in the postseason as well.
With Seattle, those are better teams, frankly.
Better teams, but he saw
Russ in
Geno
his prime.
Smith throwing to him most of the
Geno,
time.
that's right.
So
Well,
it's
Russ
not
at the
like,
end.
he had Russell for a little bit, but he had
When
Geno
Russ was
Smith.
actually good. Boy, remember those days?
Well, I remember a game he was pretty good for the Steelers, and then he got chastised for it. So
yes, he was playing the worst defense in football
you don't do
history.
that. You got to be a game manager. You got to hand the ball off.
He lit up Cincinnati's defense. Who hasn't the last few years? But I take your point. Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly more confident in their ability to win a playoff game now with Aaron Rodgers, because an old Aaron Rodgers is way better than an old Russ Wilson. It's way better than a Justin Fields, Trubisky. I mean, this is the best chance they have to win a playoff game since Ben was in his prime. I think that's without a question. So that's been a while now. So yeah, I'm confident in Aaron Rodgers' ability to not lose the game more than I am in his ability to win the game against this defense. So, and I think Houston could easily outscore the Steelers. Stroud's in his prime. Rodgers is not. And the coaching matchup's a wash. Tomlin has more experience, but it's not good experience. And he's really good on Monday nights, but that's Monday nights in the regular season. This is a playoff game, so we'll see how the tide turns there.
Last time I was here, we talked about this whole thought of Mike Tomlin being this sure bet Hall of Famer,
No, he's
the
not.
best coach in the history of the Steelers. Do you have a couple more wins and he
good
ties Chuck Noll?
Those are all 20-year-olds who've never heard of Chuck Noll
But-
saying that.
You look at the numbers and you say to yourself, this guy's coached this team for 18 years. And in 18 years, only 4 years has he won a postseason game.
Yeah.
Only
What was
4
Harbaugh's
years.
mark, by the way. He was there 18 years. He won playoff games in more than 4 years, right?
He
Had
did.
to have, yeah.
He did.
And it was probably time to move on from him, as it's time to move on from Tomlin, but they won't because he just won the division and they don't fire the coach.
With Harbaugh, though, at least you saw a little bit of an evolution. You
Right.
went from Flacco to Jackson.
Two completely different players.
And you transformed the offense.
Right.
You had two completely different offenses. With
Right.
Tomlin, the stubbornness, I mean, he is going to win with a game manager quarterback. He doesn't care who it is. He could draft literally anyone, and that's what their role is going to be. That's what they're going to do. There's no young, innovative offensive coordinator that comes in because they're not allowed to change that offense. So no one's taking the job because their goal is to get their own job, and they've got to do something innovative to do that. They're not allowed to do that in Pittsburgh. So they get these retreaded guys like Canada and Arthur Smith who basically do whatever they're told, and they put this vanilla offense out there that nobody wants to be a part of. You can tell the lack of interest, unless you're a running back, by literally anyone on that offense. Aaron Rodgers comes in and is not really successful with it early on and decides I'm going to do my own thing. And I don't know how it got to that point. I don't know how he was given that permission to do that, but he was. And now he's calling plays at the line. The offense looks a little more like an offense, but it doesn't in any way disguise the fact that there's a lack of talent
Right.
on that offense. You traded away George Pickens at the beginning of the year because you couldn't control him. One in a long line of receivers that you could not control. And you have to start asking yourself, why could he not be controlled? Are these guys really all just horrendous people? Maybe. But the reason they can't be controlled is because they're not involved in the offense and they get aggravated by that. Pickens doesn't want to stand there and be a decoy or a blocker while you run the ball 30 to 35 times a game. Nobody in the NFL wants to do that because outside of the Steelers, nobody does it. You look at guys, you look at your friends who are on other teams, they've got 10, 11, 12 catches a week, and you're standing there with 2 because you're running the ball 30 times. Yeah, you bring any big name receiver in, they're going to get frustrated. And the Metcalf storyline, I hope everyone got to see the other angle of the incident that he had with the fan in Detroit, because Metcalf was nowhere near that guy. Whatever he was saying, I know there's a history, and I'm sure he's guilty as well, but in the end, somebody has to be the professional athlete, and that's DK Metcalf. If you've got an issue, call security. Don't walk all the way around the bench. I mean, he walked by, it looked like stadium security. The Steelers, I guess, don't have security because you got to pay for that, and they don't like to do that. He walked by, basically no one said a word to him. He walked, I would say, probably 30, 35 paces to get to this guy, and then did what he did and got suspended for 2 games. I said from the start he should be suspended for the playoffs too. He should be suspended for the rest of it. If you're that much of a moron that you can't act like a professional, I don't care what that guy was saying. You're the professional. That's a fan. Have him ejected if he's saying something that crosses the line, but you need to keep your composure and you need to be a professional. And honestly, when they lose, I'm not even saying if. I don't know if it'll be this week, next week, whatever. When they lose, I hope it's his fault because I've lost any little piece of respect that I have for that guy. Once I saw that second day, I thought he was standing right next to him. This guy was heckling him. No. He was nowhere near this guy. Once I saw that, absolutely, just another part of the unprofessional atmosphere that comes from there. And that goes back to the person in charge, and that's Mike Tomlin, because as far as I know, he's in charge of the entire organization at this point. He's the GM, the coach, the coordinator, probably the owner. I'm sure he makes pretty much every decision that's made by this team. Unprofessional at its finest, absolutely ridiculous. That's why they have such a lack of personnel, because once again, and Metcalf's not going to want to do it either, nobody wants to sit around and watch other players do what you think you should be doing.
Yeah, Dave. I mean, it was certainly a bad look for Metcalf specifically and the Steelers as a whole. And yeah, you're right. No matter what that fan is saying, you have to keep your composure. In that moment, it's hard to realize this, but you have to remember in that moment, look, there is going to be consequences for this. I could be suspended the rest of the year, and he's lucky to not be suspended for the playoffs. And look at that Browns game without him. They just could not do anything. That offense looked anemic. It was awful. They couldn't find the end zone. I know the Browns have a good defense, but still, that's a must-win game. You're playing a 3-win team, and they looked awful, and then they come out and they look lackluster at the start of the Ravens game. They're just lucky, or not lucky, but it was a good thing that Rodgers turned back the clock and looked so good in the second half, or that collapse would really be on Metcalf. So, yeah, it was a bad look. It was a bad situation, and now he's back, and they have to utilize him. He's their number one. He's not a number one, but he's the Steelers' number one, and he needs to have a big game Monday night if they want to win.
And he's the Steelers' really only.
Right.
And you look at that Cleveland game, well, when you're throwing the ball to one guy all year,
Yeah.
who do you think's going to step up? I mean, these are all
He tried
scrubs.
to force it to MVS, and you have Thielen out there and Miller. It's just ridiculous.
There's not a number 2 on that roster. There's not a number 3. There might not be a number 4 on that roster.
No.
Those are 5s and 6s. At this point of Thielen's career, I mean, he was not
Austin's
even
a
being
2,
he was
I
healthy, scratched in Minnesota in important games. That should tell you where he fell on the depth chart.
Right.
Valdez-Scantling was out in the free agent market 3/4 of the year. Nobody wanted him. Anybody could have picked. I mean, and you got guys there because they're special teamers like Miller and Skoranek. These aren't receivers.
No.
These aren't guys that should be getting legitimate snaps in the NFL, but they are out of necessity. You have a tight end who you paid a ton of money to, you don't throw to, in Pat Fryermuth. You got a gimmick out there, Washington, who ends
out
up
now.
breaking his arm as a result of what you're doing there.
Jonnu Smith.
Jonnu Smith can't, he doesn't, I don't think he understands one play in the playbook.
No.
Now you've got Jalen Warren, who apparently is still sick. I mean, I don't know what kind of illness he has, but he didn't practice today. This illness has gone on for over a month.
Wow.
Gainwell's your MVP, so you know, and Houston knows they're going to be dinking and dunking stuff all day because there's really no deep threat. If you could put Stingley on Metcalf and keep him covered up,
That's it.
who else do you have to worry about? And I guess the bigger question now is, Nick, I mean, we know that the game plan of the Steelers and how they try to beat you. Should there be a concern for Chris Boswell? Because not only saying because he missed that extra point, but they were talking about him prior to the game missing just about anything beyond 50 yards before that Baltimore game. I mean, kickers do this. They'll hit a wall. Justin Tucker, before he had all the massage issues, he did it. Who was the guy from Indianapolis? Vanderjagt from Indianapolis,
You're
like
right.
the best kicker in the league, who just couldn't make anything.
But in that situation, Tucker would have nailed that field goal. It was way too much pressure on that kid. Tucker's a seasoned veteran. I know why you had to get rid of him. He had struggled and he had the off-the-field issues. But in a way, Boswell, and someone made this point, it was funny, as good as he's been, he may have won them that game with that miss because if he makes that kick, maybe Baltimore goes for the touchdown on that last drive instead of laying up for the field goal because they don't want to go to overtime. It's a interesting thought. He obviously didn't miss it on purpose. But yeah, I mean, to beat Houston, a team that's better than you in a playoff game when you're a home underdog, if you want to beat that team, you cannot make mistakes. And it's special teams, offense, defense, and kicks. So yeah, you can miss field goals and extra points. You can throw interceptions or lose fumbles. When you're an underdog, if you want to sneak out with a win, you can't make any mistakes. Steelers, you're right, have to be flawless Monday night.
Yes, that's really the only chance they have. And like Nick and I both said, this is probably the best matchup they could have received in this situation.
Probably.
And they still have to be flawless to win this
Right.
game.
They're a week. Every playoffs, you have the weaker teams, and Carolina certainly the weak one in the NFC, and the Steelers in the AFC. Someone had to win the North. I wasn't overly impressed with Baltimore at all. They didn't deserve to make it either.
King of the
So,
North.
That's it.
Well, they had it handed to them, week 6 or 7? There's no way they can lose
Yeah,
this.
Lamar was out.
And they
Yeah.
almost did.
They almost
They
did.
almost did. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll look at today's injury report. We've got until Monday. The Steelers don't play until Monday night, so there'll be a practice tomorrow that we can also focus on. But pretty much everybody there, except Jalen Warren. So I'll go through that. We are still kind of making our picks for WMBS. Hopefully you haven't looked at Facebook lately because I'm way in last place, not doing all that well. But Nick's up there contending with Josh Kryzik Esquire for the top spot. So one of them probably going to be the champion when it's all said and done. We're down to less games, so we only have 6 this week. But Nick and I will make, actually, 7? 7 games this week. So Nick and I will make our picks of the Steeler game right here live on TV. I have everyone else's picks. We'll do that first, and then in the second hour, we'll share some of the others with you. So don't go anywhere. Still more Steeler talk coming your way in a couple of minutes.
Point Hill Living Care Home is an all-new personal care home conveniently located in Point Marion and is now accepting new residents. Point Hill Living is committed to providing comfort and support while allowing residents to maintain their independence and enhance their quality of life. With a dedicated staff and experienced advanced care team, Point Hill Living offers fully customized care plans for all residents, while also ensuring a sense of community and engagement, making Point Hill feel like home. Multiple care levels are available, from basic plans to fully customized and enhanced plans, including options for medical monitoring and full-time dedicated assistance. If you are looking for a high-quality care home close to home, look no further than Point Hill Living Care Home at 300 Union Street in Point Marion. Call them today at 724-725-5533 to learn more, or visit them at pointhillliving.com. Point Hill Living Care Home, where our residents are family.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors, where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
Okay, my New Year's resolution was to listen to my body, and my body says it's tired, coughing, and hates January.
Sounds like your body wants MontyMed same-day care.
I tried ignoring it. That was resolution number 2.
Let me guess, you Googled it?
Yeah, now I'm scared.
Let's not do that. I'm Kendall Soliero, a provider at Montgomery Medical. Walk in, get real answers, and start feeling better. No appointment needed.
Wow, a resolution I can actually keep.
New year, same germs. Walk into Montgomery Medical today.
Ready to score big on your next home? Well, great news. Huge savings are waiting for you at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. From open floor plans perfect for game day parties to energy-efficient homes that will help you save money all season long, these homes are built to deliver. Don't wait on the sidelines. Make the winning play today and find the home that fits your family and lifestyle. Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon at 4500 Route 51.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles, and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. Well, if you've been listening, we've gone back and forth talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers' chances in the opening round of the playoffs. They are the final game. They play Monday night. They are at home because they won the North. They're the king of the North, Nick, if you haven't heard that all week.
That's right.
Ad nauseum. But they are playing the Houston Texans. Maybe a little bit of a surprise there. I think at the beginning of the year, everyone thought the Texans were a shoo-in to win the AFC South, but out of nowhere came Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, no turnovers in the second half of the season. Just unbelievable. And you're right about Liam Cohen. And that's an interesting because you said he was a slam dunk, and I kind of tend to agree with it, but I wouldn't have said that. I mean, Mike Vrabel, how do you start looking at these stories, especially from the AFC?
Ben Johnson even.
Ben Johnson with Chicago. These are teams that are well ahead of schedule with where everyone thought they were going to be, and then this thing comes out of nowhere. But I agree. I think when you start looking, I think the second pick in the draft, they draft Travis Hunter. He goes down halfway through the year, and here they are. Winning the AFC South. So, yeah, I mean, Houston may be a little surprised that they're here. I know I was hoping for Buffalo because I figured that would be an outright annihilation. I don't think this is going to be an annihilation, but it's also not going to be an easy matchup for the Steelers because of the fact that Rodgers can't move. and Houston has an aggressive defense. And I don't think you're going to see him picking up 20 yards at a clip like he was against that Baltimore pass rush that was, by the way, about 15 yards away. These guys are going to be up in his face from the start of the game until the end of the game. So if they do win, Rodgers is going to win it. He's going to have to win it, and he's going to earn this victory. Like he's going to earn this win because they are not going to take it easy. They are not going to back off. The secondary of Houston, they're one of the best in the league. They don't need to drop all these guys back into coverage. They can play man on this team. And the Pittsburgh Steelers could find themselves really, I mean, you could double team Metcalf and not have to worry about anybody else. That's pretty much where they are. Maybe a little confidence boost for Calvin Austin to get that touchdown at the end. He's been under the microscope quite a bit this year for not understanding the plays, being screamed at publicly by Aaron Rodgers, and not alone. I mean, we've seen others, a lot of the younger players getting screamed at by Rodgers. Caleb Johnson, of course, very notably. We heard the story in the locker room earlier this year when he made the mistake on the kick return. Roman Wilson has been getting chastised time and time again by Rodgers because they don't understand the plays and they're not where Rodgers thinks they're going to be. Jonnu Smith, a constant reminder of not understanding what's supposed to be going on. So this will be a tough matchup. Don't think for a second, just because you live in Pittsburgh and they play in Pittsburgh and you overrate them most of the time, that this is going to be an easy win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not saying they're not going to win, but once again, if they do, they're going to earn this one. The injury report just came out a little while ago. Not a whole lot to tell you. Aaron Rodgers was a full participant. They're still listing him with the wrist injury. Ben Skoranek was a full participant with the hand. Christian Kuntz, the long snapper, full participant with the knee. TJ Watt. Good to see Watt out there. I mean, after the Steelers staff almost killed him.
Friendly fire.
You know, there you go again. Like how and they complain. They want to file complaints against the NFL because they get rated an F by the players. How do you, on your watch in your facility, allow a guy through what was that? What's that thing called that they dry needling? Is that
dry needling?
Dry needle, which apparently has a sensor on it and is supposed to shut off when it goes too far. That didn't work and almost did puncture slightly the lung and collapsed it of TJ Watt, but he was back out there.
Yeah.
Got lucky. Got a nice little interception that went right into his hands.
Luck is the residue of design, Dave.
Yes, well, of course.
Yeah.
And Cam Hayward was limited today after he had Veterans Day yesterday. The only guy not out there is Jaylen Warren, and this lingering illness, maybe he has the Christmas flu or whatever was going around for like weeks at a time.
New Year's, yeah.
Yeah, possibly. But that's it. He didn't practice today, but if it's an illness, I expect to see him out there within the next couple of days and on the field Monday night. This is a big one. You look at the shortcomings of Mike Tomlin. Most of them are in the postseason. This is where he doesn't win. This is where he's not over 500. When you talk about, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Sure he has. He's had it in the postseason numerous times. 4 years out of 18 that he's actually won a playoff game. It's just not good enough when you look at some of the personnel that the Steelers have had through those years. Those are the years of Roethlisberger in his prime, the years of Brown and Bell, and I know it was the tail end of guys, but still, like Palomalu was there, Heath Miller was there. So you had a lot of players. The entire career of Cam Hayward, the entire career of TJ Watt, where the Pittsburgh Steelers have been unsuccessful. They've won a playoff game with Hayward. They've not won any with Watt or beyond that point from 2017. So this, I think, is big for Mike Tomlin. It was nice to see him beating his chest and blowing kisses into the camera after he won nothing at the end of the year. Another regular season game was all that it was in the end.
Well, they won the division.
Well, but it's a regular season game with a regular season trophy.
Right.
Let's see something happen now when it really matters. But I don't care if he does it this week, I'm fine with it because at least he won in a place where he normally doesn't win the postseason. As you know, we've been making our picks all year here at WMBS. 7 of us are doing it. We're all still around. I tried to quit this week, but no one would let me. I'm mathematically eliminated from literally anything, maybe even next to last place.
We'll have to start picking college games and NBA games for you to catch up.
I might start picking the NBA.
Yeah.
I don't know a thing about that. Maybe that'll help
Grizzlies, yeah.
Normally that helps more when you're picking if you don't know than if you do, because then you can't second guess yourself.
Helps you for March Madness.
It does help you for March
But it
Madness.
worked against you in the NFL.
Well, it'll help you for the NCAA. We can start picking random NCAA games. Pitt versus Duquesne, or something
Penn
like
State
that.
against I don't know,
Iona.
Loyal Hannah. Yeah.
Well, I will share with you the picks of the other 5 guys. Nick and I will do ours last. So
On TV.
going through and looking, well, Nick's is first, but I'll let him pick it himself. Do you remember who you chose?
I
So
have
to
it
hold
right
the
here.
sheet up?
TJ made me a copy.
Okay, good. Looking at Brian Morozak first. He's the closest to me at the bottom. He took the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
This guy never takes the Steelers.
No.
He takes the Steelers this week.
Whatever.
Matt Sapienza takes the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Esquire, the number 1 team amongst all of us, he takes the Pittsburgh Steelers. TJ takes the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bill Madden takes the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
Nick Barczyk, are you joining the club?
I am. If the line's 3, I take Houston. They've been blown out a lot in the playoffs. I don't think they will this time. I'm not overwhelmed by Houston's personnel. They're a fine team. They won. Well, they didn't win a division, but I thought they were going to all year. They have a really good defense, but I think Rodgers, in what could be his last game, keeps it close. Houston wins this game, but by 3, and the line's 3.5. For that, I'll take the Steelers.
Oh, what a bold pick there by Nick. So all 6 have taken the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, I take a second and I think about this, and everyone says this is the best chance in years the Pittsburgh Steelers have had to win a playoff game because they have a legitimate quarterback.
Right.
And he's at the tail end of his career, but he looks better than Ben at the end of his career, looks better than Wilson at the end of his career. So probably when you look at the situation, yes, this is the best opportunity. And of course, why wouldn't we root for the Steelers? They're the team that plays closest to all of our houses. So if you're going to get to go watch a professional football game, you're probably going to do it in Pittsburgh, and you're probably going to do it decked out in black and gold, waving your little towel around, pretending like this is a legitimate team with a legitimate chance
Like it's
to win a Super Bowl.
1976.
Yes, you're going to party like it's 1976
Yeah.
if you go down there. So I take all of that into consideration. Metcalf's back. He does have a good track record in the postseason.
Yep.
The defense is healthy, really for the first time all year. The offensive line is playing better than it has in the last several years. So with all of that in the favor, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to actually go against everybody else, and I'm going to take the Houston Texans. The offense might be a little subpar, but the defense is better than any other unit you're going to see on that football field. They're better than Pittsburgh's defense, Pittsburgh's offense, Houston's offense, and I've got to go with what I think is the best. And the best chance to win this game is the Houston defense. 3.5 is the spread. I'm taking the Houston Texans. It's going to be another year of disappointment for the Pittsburgh Steelers and another year to tack on to the record of not winning in the postseason. Go Texans.
But he'll be back next year and the year after that.
Unless he decides he wants to go to TV.
That's right.
That's the only hope anybody
Join
has at this
Harbaugh on
point.
TV.
The
I
same
think Harbaugh will take another
boring offense, the same boring, mediocre team.
Right.
I
And
don't know.
Rodgers will be back
Harbaugh
next
apparently
year.
has an interview with the Las Vegas Raiders next week and part owner Tom Brady, as was reported by Tom Brady. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the coaches who got fired. The Penguins are in action tonight against New Jersey at home. The return of Evgeny Malkin to the lineup from what I hear. I'll try to verify that before we come back on and a lot more. So don't go anywhere. The Sports Voice Hour 2 is coming up next.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Protests in Minneapolis after yesterday's shooting death of a woman by an ICE officer have spread to Los Angeles, D.C., and where reporter Mary Lynn Buckley is, New York City.
Travis Morales from RefuseFascism.com says this crowd is rallying in memory of Renee Nicole Good.
This was all to justify the killing of her. Kristi Noem came out and said she's a domestic terrorist.
Many in the crowd holding signs saying, Kristi Noem, you're not welcome here in NYC.
And Kristi Noem has the gall to call her a domestic terrorist. No! She was a hero of the people. Who are the real terrorists?
Mary Lynn Buckley for CBS News, New York.
Vice President J.D. Vance says the officer who shot Renee Good in South Minneapolis was doing his job and is protected by absolute immunity. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz calls for accountability after the FBI takeover of the shooting investigation.
I think it's clear to everyone as they saw this that it feels now that Minnesota has been taken out of the investigation. It feels very, very difficult that we will get a fair outcome.
NASA cancels a spacewalk due to an astronaut with a medical issue, and it may bring the crew back early. CBS News space consultant Bill Harwood.
It's never happened to NASA, and it's certainly never happened in the 25 years the International Space Station has been continuously staffed. So it's a big deal all the way around.
The medical condition has not been revealed, but NASA says the crew member is stable. President Trump says he wants the government to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds in a push to bring down mortgage rates. President Trump is also lashing out at a few Republicans who voted with Democrats on a resolution to limit his ability to launch more attacks on Venezuela. CBS's Allison Keyes reports.
Missouri Republican Josh Hawley, one of 5 in his party who supported the resolution, says Congress should weigh in if the president wants to put troops on the ground in Venezuela. But
I don't see this as a backward-looking thing. I see this as a forward-looking thing. If this resolution is limited to Venezuela.
But Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the vote sends a signal to the president.
No president, no matter how reckless, no matter how egotistical, gets a blank check.
Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
The House has refused to override President Trump's recent surprise vetoes of 2 bills with bipartisan support. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
One was designed to help local communities finance construction of a pipeline to provide water in Colorado. The other designated a site in the Everglades as part of an Indian reservation. That would have benefited one of the groups that sued over the
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Take the fact book.
Caring for an aging parent or a loved one with medical needs? FACT, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, can help. Seniors 65 and older ride free on our fixed routes. People with disabilities get discounted shared rides. And if your loved one has medical assistance, their trips to doctors or treatment are covered under the shared ride program. Give them safe, reliable independence and yourself peace of mind. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. FACT, your community, your connection.
It's a new day at WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital, and we're bringing a new level of quality healthcare to our community. From primary care to specialty services, our team has always put patients first. And now, thanks to our merger with WVU Medicine, our commitment to patient-centered care has grown even stronger. With new resources, a growing staff, and advanced technology, our team is here to provide you with top-quality care when it matters most. Discover the new Uniontown Hospital and see how we've grown.
A rare birth in Central Africa.
Officials at Virunga National Park in the Democratic Republic of Congo have announced a wild mountain gorilla named Mafuko has delivered twins. Photos posted to Facebook show the new mom nursing her infant boys. The park calls the news a rare and remarkable event. A previous set of twins Mafuko delivered 10 years ago died right after birth. Officials say her new babies appear to be healthy and happy. Their main goal now, monitoring and protecting the little gorillas to ensure their survival. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Most of Wall Street drifted today, but stocks of defense contractors rallied after President Trump said he wants to increase U.S. government spending on defense sharply. Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, and L3 Harris Technologies helped lead the way and offset losses for NVIDIA and other tech stocks. Treasury yields ticked higher after mixed data on the U.S. economy. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Ultimate Structures, offering customized sheds, cabins, and metal buildings. Ultimate Structures is ready to design what you desire. Call today, 724-415-0020.
And good afternoon. We are looking at 5:05 and 57 outside of our Davis & Davis studios on this Thursday. Davis & Davis, attorneys at law, voted Fayette County's best law firm 2025. Your local station, WMBS, as we update that temperature right now at 53 degrees with some sun still left. We'll get you to the weather watch and the sports in just a bit. A Fayette County man is facing multiple charges after police say he locked a woman inside a Redstone Township home for 4 days and physically assaulted her with electrical and charging cords and threatened her life. In December, Kevin Shields initially told authorities nothing was wrong, but the woman later told police Shields had forbidden her to leave and inflicted numerous injuries. The criminal complaint notes visible bruising and threats, and Shields has been charged with unlawful restraint, aggravated assault, and strangulation. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro announced his bid for a second term today. He announced his re-election campaign in a video posted to YouTube. Shapiro was in Pittsburgh today and talked about the Highlights of his administration including increasing public funding to schools by 30%, making universal free breakfast a law, and investing in special education. The governor is also in Philadelphia tonight for a rally. His Republican challenger is the state treasurer, Stacey Garrity. Fayette County District Attorney Mike Auble has made a statement after members of the Masontown Council voted 6-1 this week to lay off everyone on the police force shortly after a swearing-in session this week. Auble says no one informed his office or state police that this decision could be coming. The DA says he plans to file a lawsuit in an attempt to reverse the vote. A vote to disband the police department is expected next week. Abbott Gallatin Senior High School dismissed early today due to a suspected gas leak. Students had been evacuated to the football field and will be dismissed from the stadium parking lot behind the field house. They were dismissed in that fashion today. Buses were called and all student drivers have been dismissed. All afternoon activities and evening activities canceled. Columbia Gas is investigating. First-time filings for unemployment are dropping around Pennsylvania. The U.S. Labor Department says for the week ending January 3rd, there were more than 20,000 first-time claims in the state. The number is down by more than 1,000 compared to the week before. Nationally, there was an increase in the number of initial filings for the week. More next on WMBS.
Hey everyone, this is Josh Krysak here letting you know that it's not too late to purchase a shed, carport, or building due to the cold weather that's upon us. Ron from Ultimate Structures will explain.
Here at Ultimate Structures, we go full-time, year-round to service our customers. Don't let the cold weather discourage you from purchasing the storage building for your needs. Our manufacturers and installation crews keep chugging through the cold weather. There may be minor delays due to snow and ice, but you can be assured every attempt will be made to get your building up and ready to protect your valuables.
That is great news to hear, Ron. Our listeners can still purchase a shed, carport, garage, or building to fit their needs.
Customers can call me anytime to discuss their needs at 724-557-3281. That's 724-557-3281. We can sit down and design what you desire. Come out to our mega lot to view models to fulfill your dreams. We are Ultimate Structures, satisfying Fayette County customers since 2007.
A jackpot scratch-off ticket worth $1 million was sold at the Walmart on Mills Drive in North Huntington, Westmoreland County. The store will get a $5,000 bonus for selling that winning ticket. And researchers say a mail-in finger prick blood test can accurately detect markers for Alzheimer's disease.
The study out of Banner Health's Fluid Biomarker program in Sun City found that a simple mail-in blood test was just as effective in detecting brain damage associated with Alzheimer's as standard blood tests or spinal fluid taps. A senior researcher at the biomarker program, Dr. Nicholas Ashton, says that ultimately science is moving toward a pathway of treating for Alzheimer's disease before symptoms emerge. The study is published in the journal Nature Medicine. I'm Scott Carr.
In sports, we have high school basketball tonight. CR Parado Group High School Sports Night. Girls action, Monessen and Geibel. Sprouse Insurance Group pregame at 6:15. Game at 7 with radio and video on YouTube. Then we'll join the Devils at Penguins game tonight on WMBS. Steelers have their playoff game against Houston Monday night on WMBS at 8 o'clock. And the Titans have asked to speak with Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith about their vacant head coaching position. Smith was the Titans offensive coordinator for 2 years from 2019 through 2020. And in baseball, the Buccos, the Pittsburgh Pirates, avoided arbitration with 4 players today, signing catcher Joey Bart, center fielder O'Neal Cruz, and right-handed relievers Justin Lawrence and Dennis Santana to 1-year deals.
The local district and statewide news was brought to you by Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis on Route 51 southbound. Call them today at 724-415-0020 to find the shed, cabin, or metal building that meets your needs.
This weather report being brought to you by Montgomery Medical. Trust their 50 years of combined experience for the best results in primary care, newborns to elderly, minor illness or injury, as well as wellness and physical exams. And now the weather.
Overnight low tonight dropping down to 49 up to 63 with rain likely Friday. Showers Saturday at 54, low at freezing 32. Only at 34 for the high Sunday. Monday, sun 38, 52 with sunny skies Tuesday. Chance of a wintry mix, rain and snow Wednesday, high at 44 and the low down to 19. Right now with the clouds and some sun still for a few more moments, maybe in pockets of the region. 54 degrees at 5:11 on this Thursday. And good afternoon from the Davis & Davis studios at WMBS. I'm Nick Barczyk. The Stog Report, then the second hour of the Sports Voice with Dave Dunaway next on WMBS.
This weather report was brought to you by Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine. Same-day appointments available for acute care. Call 724-569-8100 or visit montymed.com to schedule your appointment.
Good evening. This is Angie Danko of Janney Montgomery Scott here in Uniontown, bringing you today's closing stock market report. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 270 points, closing at 49,266. The Nasdaq Composite was down 104.3 points, closing at 23,480. And the S&P 500 Index was up 0.5 points, closing at 6,921. Among companies of local interest, Apple closed at $259.04, down $1.29. Amazon, $246.29, up $4.73. Cisco, $73.96, down 76 cents. Boeing, $227.26, down 86 cents. Caterpillar closed at $608.10, up $11.58. Disney, $114.15, up $1.24. ExxonMobil, $122.91, up $4.42. First Energy closed at $44.68, up 12 cents. Johnson & Johnson, $205.69, down $1.80. Home Depot, $359.41, up $10.35. Intel, $41.11, down $1.52. McDonald's closed at $308.83, up $4.67. Meta Platforms, $646.06, down $2.63. PNC Financial Services, $218.63, up $2.36. Raytheon Technologies, $187.17, up $1.44. Rockwell Automation, $403.57, down $5.77. Tesla, $435.80, up $4.39. Verizon, $40.56, up 42 cents. And Walmart closed at $113.07, up 35 cents. Recapping, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 270 points, closing at 49,266. The Nasdaq Composite was down 104.3 points, closing at 23,480. And the S&P 500 Index was up 0.5 points, closing at 6,921. From the Uniontown office of Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC, where we serve all of your investment needs. This is Angie Danko.
Looking for a fireplace? Koval Building Supply at 40 Monroe Avenue in Uniontown is more than your plumbing supply store. We specialize in fireplaces of all fuel types, such as gas, wood, pellet, and electric. We're now featuring Harmon pellet stoves from Forge and Flame, perfect for keeping your family warm and cozy. Call Koval today at 724-437-8824 or visit kovalsupply.com to start planning for the winter season. Koval Building Supply, everything you need to make your house feel like home.
Get ready to make your new year a winner with Live Casino's $100,000 cash blowout drawing. Earn entries daily starting January 1st and join our action-packed drawings on January 30th and 31st. You could start your year off with a share of $100,000 in cash and free play prizes. How's that for a happy new year? Come rake it in at Live Casino, Route 30 at Westmoreland Mall. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Franco's Golf Center is open during the winter months, Tuesday through Sunday, starting at 11 a.m., closed Monday. With 2 state-of-the-art simulators, Franco's is your destination for indoor golf. The Full Line Pro Shop is also open for your shopping convenience with gift certificates available. The outdoor range is also open year-round, weather permitting. Call 724-438-6651 to reserve your indoor golf tee times. Franco's is located on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Stop and see them today.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991 for the fine art of dentistry.
Your local station, 590 WMBS. I hear voices in my head.
Welcome to part 2 of the Sports Voice. Ahead on this hour, it's a hockey night in Pittsburgh. Yes, the Pittsburgh Penguins at home hosting the New Jersey Devils, but not the only big game on tonight. We've got the first leg of the semifinals of the college football playoff. Yes, we're getting so much closer to determining who is going to be the national champion. We'll look at the 4 teams that are still standing. Some surprises there. I think a really big surprise, maybe 2 really big surprises that you're going to see in action tonight. I don't know if anybody called either one of these still being around. One because of a coaching change, and one because I guess technically they were the last team in, but yet they're still there. So we'll talk about Miami Ole Miss tonight. We'll also look at Oregon, Indiana tomorrow. One of those 4 will be your 2025/26 college football national champion. Also, because it is January, Nick Barczyk is back with his NBA roundup, and maybe WNBA if they're playing. I'm not sure. He'll let us know what's going on there. We'll look at the transfer portal news in the NCAA. We'll look at Week 18 and how it wrapped up in the NFL. A bunch of coaches getting fired earlier this week. We'll look at that. And, of course, make the rest of our picks. It's Wild Card Weekend, everyone, in the NFL, which actually extends to Monday night because the Steelers play Monday Night Football. But they still call it Wild Card Weekend, even though Monday is not a weekend day. But regardless of the fact, we will make our picks for the 7 games from the NFL that you will see either on your TV or a streaming service that you'll probably have to purchase just to watch that game. So a lot to come on this hour of the Sports Voice. We've already talked about the Steelers and the Houston Texans. We've made our picks, 7 of us picking, 6 picking the Pittsburgh Steelers, taking the 3.5-point spot that was given to them. I'm the only one that went out and took the Houston Texans. And I don't think it's going to be a close game either, anybody. I think the only way this is a close game is if Pittsburgh wins. If Houston wins, it's going to be at least double digits, I think. But who knows? I'm in last place, so maybe don't go with me too much. But I will tell you this. I very rarely lose that Steeler game. So we'll get through the rest of that later in the show as well. We'll start off talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins. Maybe a little bit of a surprise. I think a lot of people left them for dead when they went on the big losing streak. There were rumors coming out of the organization that Dan Muse, the head coach, could be fired if a couple more of those losses got racked up together. But now the Penguins have won 5 in a row, 6 of their last 7, and are one of the hottest teams in the NHL. That being said, they're still 5th place in the Metro. So it's not a foregone conclusion, even with those loser points that they received, 9 of them, because they've lost in overtime. Technically, when you look at the record, it's still 20-21, but because of the way the NHL does it, it's 20-12-9. Any way you look at it, it's gotten better. And I think that maybe the Penguins are moving off of what the intent was coming into the season, bringing in the young guys, starting to rebuild. We're not really seeing a whole lot of that anymore. It's a lot of veterans. It looks a lot like last year, but they're trying to figure some things out. The Stars look a little more motivated than what they did, especially Erik Karlsson, who looks like potentially, he's a trophy winner again. This is, a former top defenseman in the NHL who looked absolutely lost the last couple of years with the Penguins, but starting to figure some things out. And now I guess some good news for the Pens, potentially as soon as tonight. I've not gotten confirmation that it's going to happen tonight, but I think because of the roster move, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. The Penguins will welcome Evgeny Malkin back to the lineup. And now you start asking, well, what are the lines going to look like? Because this could change things dramatically. All we know up to this point is Ville Koivunen, one of the young players, has been optioned back to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Of course, we knew that was going to happen because you're not going to get rid of any of the old guys, you're not going to get rid of any of the veterans, even the ones you try to waive and nobody claims. You still don't get rid of any of the veterans. So another young player down, not many left. So for those of you thinking, oh, this is a team that's getting younger, I'd love for you to go through the current roster and count how many young guys they have. You only need one hand, and you don't need all the fingers to do it. So they've sort of gone away from what they were talking about doing. Now it's back to the veterans. It's back to a playoff push. It's back to trying to see whether or not there's one last gasp with the core of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we know the top line is going to stay the same. It's Crosby, it's Russ, it's Raquel. Those guys are going nowhere. The second line is where you might see a change. Right now, Tommy Novak is skating in between the two giants, Mantha and Brazeau. Do you put Malkin back there? I mean, there was a lot of success that came from that line. But if you do that, then what do you do with Novak? Because that's the real question. Now, they think Tommy Novak is a star. I think Tommy Novak should get a seat up in the press box, but they're going to try to find a way to put him in. So what do you do? The third line? Who do you take off? You've got Yegor Chinikov, who they just acquired from Columbus, who actually scored the last time he played. That's not a guy you take off the ice. He's looked really good in the couple of games he's been a Pittsburgh Penguin. Ben Kindle, absolutely not. He's an anchor on the second line of the power play, and he's been your most productive rookie thus far. Rutger McGroarty, well, you shouldn't. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do with the Penguins. I'm sure it will be, but it shouldn't, because you're not going to mess with the fourth line. You're going to keep Lizotte, who actually might be the second or third best player on the Penguins this year. You'll keep him in the middle. You'll keep Dewar. You'll keep Ashari. So it's either Novak or it's McGroarty. Let me think. Oh, yeah, it's going to be McGroarty. So now you're going to have all veterans out there pretty much, and Ben Kindle skating around. But I think Malkin coming back could be a shot in the arm. They need that. They need a top-tier player to come back into this lineup. I'm just sick of all the old middle-of-the-road curtain jerkers who still get a jersey every night because of, I'm not sure why. They don't really score. They whatever. It all depends on what the vision and direction. If that has changed and this is now on a playoff push, then I guess you got to go with the veterans in that particular case. They're doing it on defense. No sign of Pickering. Brunick's been sent down. Now he's with the World Junior Championships. So it appears, I mean, Miroshov's still down there. You've got Stuart Skinner and Shilovs as your goaltenders. It appears right now they believe they can not only make the playoffs, but win there. And I think that's what you're going to see, at least for the short term, develop from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Last time we were on, we were talking about a potential sale to the Hoffman family. We've not really gotten anything official on that. Apparently the deal is done, but we've not gotten any clear-cut answer there either. So that's kind of where we are. The Penguins seem to be a franchise in limbo with a direction that seems to be in limbo, a lineup that's in limbo. We just wait and see. It could go either way at this point. But they've won 5 in a row, 6 of their last 5. This will be a test. New Jersey is right below them in the standings, and they've struggled as of late. Penguins have 49 points. New Jersey has 46. This is a must-win for New Jersey. The Rangers have 46. So you're talking a few points here and a few points there that separate second place. The Islanders have 52. So they only have 3 more than the Penguins that separate second from 7th. That's how close it is with all of these teams. And Carolina's only 3 ahead of the Islanders, and Columbus is only 3 below the Rangers. So it's a very tight Metropolitan Division. I don't know if Nick's been following the Penguins. I'm sure he's gotten to listen to them quite often because of the games that they've played here on WMBS. They've played good teams, Carolina, Detroit, and they've won those games. They did lose to Toronto in the middle of this streak. But, in the end, you have to ask yourself, I guess, what is the goal? And I think maybe that goal has changed from the beginning of the year. I mean, if you're seeing something different, I don't know, but it looks like this is a team right now that thinks they're a playoff contender.
Yes, and certainly, I mean, that's the goal going in every season. I didn't think that was necessarily the ceiling for this team, but if they think they can make a playoff run or maybe just get there, then fine. Push all your chips in there, but there's a new ownership group, first-year head coach. They still have a lot of veterans on the team, like you talk about. So I'm not sure if it's an organization that knows exactly what direction they're going in, but if you can make the playoffs, go for it. Why not? Because you're not bad enough to get a lottery pick, right? So
That's pretty much where they are. They're at
Yeah.
a point right now where they're not going to get a lottery pick. So they need to make a decision as far as how they think they can finish out this season. And it's the last year Malkin is under contract.
Right.
No real indication that they're planning on re-signing him. Chris Letang's best days are well behind him at this point. Crosby at 38 looks like he's 18.
Amazing.
Yeah,
What is
there's
going on?
There's
I
no
mean,
change there whatsoever.
Just keeps
And
ticking.
honestly, and Carlson looks like he's just been absolutely rejuvenated.
Yeah.
He's made some comments alluding to what he believed was the poor coaching style of Mike Sullivan, with really no direction of what he was supposed to do on that blue line. Seems to be enjoying hockey much more these days. And you start going through, Blake Lizotte has been amazing on the fourth line. Did miss some time. That coincided with the losing streak that the Penguins were on. Raquel starting to heat up a little bit. Rust has heated up, and Crosby on absolute fire. So we'll wait and see what happens here, but they've got some time to decide, because when the trade deadline comes, you either need to go all in or you need to jettison some of these players, because you'll get more for them at that point than what you would get in the offseason or next year. So they need to make some decisions, but they've got plenty of time to do that. I guess we just sit back, relax, enjoy the ride, and see where this team can potentially go for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and maybe one last push for the three core members together, because I think Crosby will be around for a little while. I don't know about the other two at this point. Shifting gears, we'll talk college football playoffs.
Ooh.
Yes, that's tonight as well. 7:30. Prime time right there, a little bit earlier than normal, but 7:30. We've got one game tonight. We've got one game tomorrow. Tonight, the game of surprises, the teams that no one expected to be there. We'll start with Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin leaves. The entire coaching staff tries to leave, but they're in the playoffs, so some of them have to come back, and I don't think anyone assumed they'd still be around for the semifinals. But Ole Miss, a really good team, only one loss this season, and now projected to go to the championship game if they can get past ACC opponent Miami. Miami was probably the last team in, because you look at who was ranked underneath them. It's the two that won their conferences that apparently somehow magically became power conferences, Tulane and James Madison. You had the controversy with Notre Dame. Notre Dame thought they should have had this spot, but of course they're not a member of a conference. Miami did not get to play in the ACC championship game. The team that won it, Duke, didn't make the playoffs. There's so much controversy with this, but Miami comes out on New Year's Eve. They knock off Ohio State. Absolute shocker in that one. And here they are now against Ole Miss. And even more surprising, they're favored. How can a team that no one even thought would get there be favored by 3 points in maybe their most important game in quite some time? It's been a while since Miami's been a national champion, and Ole Miss, this might be the most important thing they've done ever. But this is interesting. I mean, you've got no coach on one side. You've got a lot of controversy on the other. But I'll bet a ton of people watch this just because of the intrigue that goes with it, even though there's probably, a 10% chance whoever wins this game actually becomes national champion.
Well, yeah.
But still, to me, it's interesting.
Very interesting. Lane Kiffin will be watching. I mean, that's an amazing story. And just to see what Ole Miss did last week against Georgia, that was a heck of a game. Trinidad Chambliss, what a story. The quarterback for Ole Miss was at Ferris State, and how he's maybe going to a national championship game. But Miami's really physical with Mario Cristobal, Carson Beck leading that offense. So should be a fun game. I think Miami will win it, but Ole Miss is a great story. How can you not root for them with Pete Golding, the interim coach, and what they did against Georgia last week? So a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. And you look, I mean, the worst thing it looks like that could happen to you in these playoffs is you get a bye.
Right.
Because those teams, they struggled last year, they struggled this year. I mean, if you're not Indiana, good luck. I mean,
Right.
Georgia, they were kind of the odds-on favorite. I think that a lot of people who thought, okay, well, Ohio State's probably going to be the national champion, but Georgia could give them a run for it because that's what we thought. That'd be the 2-3 matchup. That's what we thought we were going to see here. And both of them go down. Miami just comes out of nowhere. I mean, we were making jokes about how great it would be to see a camera in Mario Cristobal's house when they're announcing the teams that are going to make the playoffs, because we just assumed Notre Dame was a shoo-in, and Miami had no chance. But it all came down to the ACC getting snubbed because they did whatever they could to make sure Duke didn't make this thing, because they felt they weren't worthy. But I guess James Madison and Tulane were somehow, some way. But in the end, here's Miami that comes out of nowhere. And yeah, the Ole Miss storyline, Kiffin leaving for LSU, all the coaches wanting to go with him, but they got to keep some there because
Weiss
the
is
team's
still there,
in the playoff. I mean, it's just a crazy story. In the end, Nick, who wins this game?
I think Miami wins this one tonight, and I think whoever wins tonight will lose to either Indiana or Oregon, and I think it'll be Indiana winning that one tomorrow. I'll jump ahead. Mendoza's a generational talent, but tonight, Miami, I think, will win.
Well, I think you look at this Oregon team as well, and that's another maybe kind of surprise. Did they play each other in the regular season?
Yes, Indiana won
beat. Well, I know
Oregon.
Indiana beat them because they haven't lost a game.
Right, in Oregon. So this is now in a neutral site. So,
but Oregon gets all the hype, all the fanfare. They've got Nike right in their backyard. They bring Dante Moore in, as this stud. They lose guys. They replenish them very quickly. They've got a big budget in Oregon, so you kind of expect it, but I thought they were a little bit disappointing this year. They go out, they rout Texas Tech. They don't get a bye, first of all, and apparently you thought you had to win a division to get a bye, but apparently you don't. Doesn't matter what conference you win, because Ohio State both got a bye right along with Indiana, so you can have two from the same conference.
Playing James Madison at home is pretty much a bye.
Kind of, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I get what you're saying.
Definitely an uphill battle. They had to play twice, but maybe that benefited them. Texas Tech did not look ready to play at all.
That offense is awful.
You look at Indiana, and they draw Alabama, which was another controversial team that a lot of people thought probably shouldn't be there. They had 4 losses. They play Oklahoma. They beat them. And Indiana just kind of wipes the floor with them. And you look at the other 3 favorites losing, and then Indiana winning convincingly. And I don't think in any way that there's a question. Indiana was the best team in college football this year. And you could say what you want about Cignetti and Mendoza transferring over from Cal and a lot of these other guys that were considered second rate by bigger schools. They made it work. They put it together. They did what they needed to do. And here they are potentially. I mean, people are arguing this game is the national championship game because they'll walk over either one of these teams, whoever wins on the other side. I don't think it's going to be easy, but in the end, I think Indiana is going to find a way to oust Oregon as well, as you said.
Right.
I almost have to go with Miami tonight. There's too much of a transition going on in Ole Miss. I mean, it's great they got as far as they did. I don't know if they can get any further than that.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough, and then Miami will get that national title game in their home stadium if they win tonight, so that could be a bonus for them going up against Indiana, who I think will beat Oregon, but yeah, should be fun. I mean, these are fun matchups. It's something different. After years of Alabama, Clemson, Georgia every year, now we get Ole Miss, Miami's back, Indiana. That's a basketball school. They're the best team in the country all of a sudden with Cignetti and Mendoza and that O-line. They never turn the ball over. And Oregon, they're the traditional power now. They used to be the upstart. Now they're the traditional power in this thing. So it's a lot of fun. And I think you'll have those are the 2 best quarterbacks in college football squaring off against each other tomorrow. I don't think anyone can argue that, and Moore and Mendoza. So it should be fun.
So when you take a look at this, we talked about it for a couple of years from the inception and the issues that we had. We were trying to pick 4 and how subjective it is. It's still kind of subjective with 12.
Yeah.
You saw some garbage get in there like James Madison and Tulane.
Tulane.
You question, did they deserve to be there? Would Notre Dame have given a better game? Absolutely.
Of course.
By default to whoever they played. Did Alabama belong there with 4 losses? But obviously you're not going to get a perfect scenario. Do we have something now I know they're talking about expanding it to 16. I don't think they need to do that.
No.
I like it where it is right now with the number.
12 is good.
But do we think the system is adequate to determine a legitimate national champion when it's all done?
Well, you're never going to have a perfect system. The object is to get the best possible system, and they don't have that. There's tweaks you can make, but I don't think expanding the number or decreasing the number is the issue. 12 is a good number, I think, but you're never going to have a perfect system. And you're always going to have some questions, and it gets heightened the fewer teams that are in. I mean, there's less bickering between who's 67, 68, 69 in March Madness. Okay, who cares? That's almost 70 teams. So if a team gets left out, I don't feel that bad. But when you only have 12 teams, there's going to be issues when teams are left out. It's not going to be a perfect system. The object is to get as close to perfect in the best possible scenario, which I'm not sure if you have that, but I think it's better than it has been in recent years, better than the BCS era, better than the 4.
And I guess that's where I was going. Is it better than it has been?
Yeah.
And
yes.
I think so too. I think that, when you take a look at it, and obviously there are flaws, and I exposed a lot of those flaws a few weeks ago when I was on, but I think that when you look at the situation, I don't know the way the NCAA is constructed. I don't know if there's a better way they can go about doing this. I think we're seeing the best that it can be. And I don't like adding teams to it. I'd rather see it stay at 12, give the teams the buys. I know it didn't work out this year because 3 of the 4 lost, but maybe that's more on them than anything else. One thing that doesn't help in the middle of this is this transfer portal. This is an absolute joke. It's ridiculous. If you're going to do it after the season. Let the guys, especially on these teams, finish it out, because here you are, you've got coaches that are gone. You're talking about a team like Ole Miss who doesn't have a coach. You're looking at a team like Indiana, who is the number 1 team in the country. They're playing for potentially a national championship, and you're talking about the quarterback next year because they already know who it is. It's Josh Hoover from TCU. Yep. So you're not through this year with the Heisman Trophy winner, and you're already starting to talk about next year. They've got to figure something out to move this transfer portal after the national championship, and I wish there was a way that the national championship game could be a lot sooner than what it is, because right now it's rivaling the Super Bowl as to what's going to get done first. This should wrap up on January 1st.
Used to always, yes, and tradition's great, but I understand you have to adapt, but there's a middle ground. January 19th is very late. It's on a Monday night. I'd play it on New Year's Day or on a Saturday. That's when the season is. The Super Bowl's on a Sunday, so there's a lot of inconsistencies. You're right. The transfer portal needs guardrails. NIL needs guardrails. College football, it's the Wild West now. It used to be really strict and too many rules. Now there seems like it's the Wild West and there's not enough. So I think we need a middle ground. I think the sport, it's better than it has been. Attendance is up. TV ratings are up. That doesn't necessarily mean things are going better, but the public seems to be enjoying it more. So there's that. But yeah, the transfer portal, you knew it was going to be out of control, and it is, Dave.
Oh, it's absolute chaos and craziness.
Madness, yeah.
Absolute craziness. I mean, that you're looking at teams that are just going. I saw Lagway, the quarterback from Florida, just picked Baylor today. Brendan Sorsby emerged as like this top dog quarterback. Everyone thought he was going to LSU. He ends up at Texas Tech for next year. I mean, we're talking more about what's going to happen next year. Right. We still have 3 games left for this year. It's just it's bad timing. We saw guys from playoff teams last year leave right in the middle of the playoff season or right before it and not be part of that postseason roster. They've got to figure something out here. I don't care when you end the season. Make this thing open after it. You don't want it opening in the middle. That being said, Penn State, we talked a lot about them prior to, and the fact that their team was pillaged as far as their recruits because they did not have a head coach named on recruiting day. Most of those guys end up at Virginia Tech. Now you have the transfer portal open, and quite honestly, I'm happy with what they got. I'm happy with the Iowa State guys that followed Campbell over. Honestly, Rocco Becht is a better quarterback than anything they had on that roster. I would have liked to have seen one of the 2 recruits. They had the 4-star kid from, I think, Hanover, and they had the 3-star kid that Campbell brought from Iowa. But Rocco Becht is a really, really, really good quarterback. He took Iowa State, a team that had next to nothing, and actually made them a legitimate contender. And people are worried about Ethan Gruckmeyer going to Virginia Tech. First of all, that guy didn't even get on the field until Aller got hurt. Why he chose Virginia Tech absolutely blows my mind, because I can't believe Franklin using him any better there than what he used him at Penn State. Same thing with Luke Reynolds. Luke Reynolds was supposed to be this stud tight end. They never threw to him. Why would either of those guys go to Virginia Tech? Blows my mind. But they got a 6'7" tight end coming from Iowa State, who I'm looking at the stat. This guy looks tremendous. 6'7". It's fantastic. And we're not even talking lyrics and songs and, anything like that. Yeah, 6'7", but tremendous. And the Sowell, the receiver, an upgrade over anything Penn State had. I think Matt Campbell is going to make a pretty good program out of this Penn State squad. They did lose their whole defense. Well, they're in the portal. I don't know how many of them have got signed, but at least they're signing people. That's more than Pitt can say. Pitt lost most of their players in the portal, and I haven't seen a whole lot coming back for them.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Penn State and Campbell. It's a big job, and he did well at Iowa State, so we'll see. It's going to be tough in the Big Ten. That's the best conference now in the country, to beat out Ohio State for recruits, to beat out, Michigan even. Now they have Whittingham, so they're going to be better. They finally have a grown-up there after they got rid of that other clown. So, we'll see. It's going to be tough, but I'm rooting for Campbell and Penn State.
They had a good bowl performance under Terry Smith, who's still there. Quentin Martin, the running back, the Whippeal kid from Bell Vernon, finally got an opportunity to play, looked tremendous. So, hopefully they can build off of some of what they've done, keep some of those guys around. You still have Smith coming back. And I really do. I think when people ask me about that Campbell hire, I said, honestly, it's better than anything they were looking at that last week. He's an upgrade over any of those guys. So I think he'll figure it out. I don't expect a ton this year. They lost a lot. They got pillaged, both with recruits and the transfer portal. But I think they'll figure it out. He'll start to bring his type of player in. Don't worry, Virginia Tech's not going to win anything. They're in the ACC anyways. There's no such thing as a big game in the ACC, so Franklin doesn't have to worry about losing it. But
unless you're playing in Boo City, that's always a big game.
Is that a big game, though?
Of course.
It should be a win.
Yeah.
I doubt it's going to be a big game. But, you start looking. Pitt's a mess. West Virginia is a mess. Rich Rod's not the answer there.
No, they love him there, but
you start he brought these guys. We'll see. We'll see how he coaches them and what you get out of West Virginia. But I'm more excited about Penn State, not just because that's a team that I root for. And by the way, they're not the college closest to my house either.
No.
And I still root for them, but I did go there, so that's probably why. But I'm more excited about seeing them turn the corner sooner than I am with the other two. I just think more of the same from both Pitt and West Virginia.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a hard time for the local college teams right now. And again, I'm rooting for Penn State. I am. They've gone through a lot, and I think Campbell's a good coach. And Pitt and West Virginia, they are what they are.
All right, and Pitt won't make a change, even though they need to. Because they still live in the past, and they think that if they'd have kept Dave Wanstead, they'd have actually won something. They might have been in better shape, but they wouldn't have won anything.
No.
And they did have a mess with trying to replace him. They're still trying to do it, I think.
Exactly.
I don't think Narduzzi was ever an answer to anything.
No.
But, in the end, it is what it is. So the transfer portal is open right in the middle of your college football national championship playoffs. Tonight, you've got Miami and Ole Miss. Tomorrow, Oregon and Indiana. And then the two winners play, is it
Monday
Easter
the 19th.
Sunday?
Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere
I think
around
it's
there.
either Monday the 19th of this month or Memorial Day.
Crazy.
We'll
I can't
see.
believe they didn't find a way to get a bowl game that Pitt could have played somewhere in around this time of the year.
March or April. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
'cause-
their bowl game's very late.
Right.
It's
So,
the Peter Cottontail Bowl.
the ABCD element of P ball.
Yeah, all the letters.
I like Peter. Peter Cottontail's a good one too.
That's
yes.
right.
Yes,
Hoppity
the
hop
bunny
hop.
trail. The
Yeah.
bunny trail bowl.
That's it.
There you go.
Oh, my God.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll go back to the NFL. We've got to make our picks for the playoffs. We'll look at the coaches that were fired. Nick's got to do his NBA roundup. I'll take a look and see whether or not any other big stories have happened in the last few minutes. Maybe another coach. Did Aaron Glenn get fired yet? How does that guy still have a job? A lot to talk about. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
For professional cleaning services, Clean and Shine in New Stanton is the place for you. They provide commercial and residential cleaning, porter services, carpet cleaning, stripping and waxing, construction cleanups, and car cleaning. For free estimates, call 724-691-0413, email info@cleanandshine14.org, or visit their website, cleanandshine14.org. We clean so you can shine.
Oak Pizza in downtown Uniontown is your one-stop shop for the most unique pizzas in the region. From the masterminds behind the Fat Angelo's franchise, Oak Pizza is the laboratory where the Fat Angelo's food scientists test their creations and let you be the judge. With traditional favorites like pepperoni and buffalo chicken pizzas to more experimental offerings like the sesame seed-infused Mad Pie or the spicy chicken pickle pizza, Oak has you covered. Order today at oakpizzas.com or by calling 724-439-5805. Your taste buds will thank you.
Hey, you looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle? Well, look no more, because with over 200 vehicles, Gary's Auto Sales is the largest used car dealer in the area. Whether you want a car, a truck, or an SUV, you'll absolutely find what you're looking for at Gary's. Gary's has been in business since 1974. You can visit them online at Gary'sAutoSales.com, or you can give them a call at 724-626-8080. Gary's Auto Sales. Many miles, many smiles.
Pizza Kings in Connellsville is your go-to lunch and dinner spot with a full menu of mouth-watering pizzas and so much more. Using a deck oven helps our pizzas stay extra crisp, so if you haven't tried a slice lately, what are you waiting for? From our 50-slice King Carnivore to veggie pizzas and even pickle pizzas, Pizza King has the pie to match your taste. Pizza Kings, 1046 Morrell Avenue in Connellsville. Call 724-626-8343 or visit pizzakingswithaz.com.
Franco's Golf Center is open during the winter months, Tuesday through Sunday, starting at 11 a.m., closed Monday. With 2 state-of-the-art simulators, Franco's is your destination for indoor golf. The Full Line Pro Shop is also open for your shopping convenience with gift certificates available. The outdoor range is also open year-round, weather permitting. Call 724-438-6651 to reserve your indoor golf tee times. Franco's is located on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Stop and see them today.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991 for the fine art of dentistry.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. Just a note on the Penguins. Apparently, Evgeny Malkin will be active for tonight's game. I also just found out they placed Rutger. Yeah, easy for me to say. You could tell I've been off a few weeks, everyone. They placed Rutger McGroarty on injured reserve with no timetable to return. I didn't even realize he was hurt. I know that he did not play in the last game. I figured he was just a healthy scratch because he was young. But apparently he's on IR for a while. So that'll make it easy. I would assume Novak slides onto the third line between Chinakhov and Kindle, or on a wing with Kindle as the center. And then you keep the fourth line intact, which is what Dan Muse seems to be most concerned with anyways. Penguins at Devils tonight. You can hear the game right here. Is that correct?
Yes.
On WMBS. Well, there's high school basketball as well.
Yes.
But that's on YouTube.
After high school basketball, we'll have the Penguins.
And of course, we have college football. Well, we don't have it, but there is college football tonight.
Somewhere
as well.
out there. Yeah.
Somewhere has college football.
Four-letter network.
The semifinals of the national championship. All right, I guess I got to do it. So the Pirates, they do a little bit of stuff today, and everybody thinks it's the greatest thing in the world. So the Pirates, their main goal is to see how many players they can avoid arbitration with, because they're afraid they're going to lose and have to pay more money than they want. So they did settle with 4 guys to basically beat arbitration. The most notable, I guess, of them all is O'Neal Cruz, because probably people who are convinced he's better than he is thinks he should have and could have gotten more. $3.2 million was the deal struck with Cruz to avoid arbitration. Actually, it was less than Dennis Santana. I think Santana got 3.4, and then Justin Lawrence, who actually looked good for the short period of time that we saw him. He didn't last long for the Pirates. He was hurt and on injured reserve all year for the most part, but he looked good in April and May before he got injured. And Joey Bart, who many said would not be returning, apparently he's coming back. Like $2.5 million they gave him to come back and be the backup catcher to batting 1-something Henry Davis, who you know is probably going to get a spot in there. That's one thing that surprised me. They didn't go out and try to sign a catcher, but they got Endy coming back. Maybe they can put him back there finally, see if he can start to hit the ball. Also, they officially announced the signing of Ryan O'Hearn, the first multi-year free agent they've signed since Ivan Nova. So get excited about that, everyone. I know Pirate fans are thrilled. We've got Brandon Lau, we've got Jake Mangum, Mason Montgomery. I mean, they really haven't spent a whole lot, and they really haven't taken a risk. I mean, Lau's contract is up at the end of the year, so you don't have to worry about him beyond that. And Ryan O'Hearn will hit 30 home runs. He'll hit probably 190 right along with that. But have they upgraded? I guess. Have they upgraded to a point where they're going to make the playoffs? Come on. Yeah. And they're done spending money. They lost out on this Japanese corner infielder to the Blue Jays. They lost out to Pete Alonso with the Orioles. I mean, these aren't big market teams that they're in competition with. This is a billionaire owner who rakes in money hand over fist every year. You know he's going to get a really big payday from Major League Baseball before the season starts. If he really wanted to legitimately, seriously put a run together, he could have spent some more money and brought in a couple upgrades at positions. But instead, we'll see Horowitz and Triolo playing those corner infield positions. It could have been better. It wasn't. Is it over? Yeah, outside of the retreads, they're going to bring it in March and try to tell you are legitimate free agent signings. That's really all that's there. I mean, did they get better? I guess. Did they get good enough to be what everyone out there thinks they're going to be? Not even close. This is still not a playoff team, even with the best pitcher in all of baseball.
Yeah, and that's amazing, Dave, that they've had the best pitcher in baseball for 2 years now, pretty much, and have gotten worse and don't seem like they really want to get better. O'Hearn is what he is. You're right, a home run guy that's not going to hit for average, and it's just a really bad lineup, and they have good pitching besides for Skeens. He's obviously the cherry on top, but you think they could provide a little more offense, but they don't, and it's going to be another... I don't know. I mean, is there any way they win more than 75 games?
I don't think
close
so.
to 500?
And they've cut into the pitching depth. Like, you could say what you want about Oviedo and Burrows, but they have a system where starters don't really pitch more than 5 or 6 innings.
Right.
So you need those top guys out of the bullpen, the ones that come in first. Now you've got Ashcraft, you've got Majinski. I mean, they're almost slated into the rotation. I know they're talking about Barco. You've got Harrington. You start looking through, is Jared Jones coming back? They think
that's
he
a
is.
question.
And what's going on with Mitch Keller? Is he going to be around?
Can't believe he's still
now
there.
that they traded Oviedo, is Keller there, or are they going to trade him yet before this offseason is over? So I think there's a lot of question marks with the pitching staff. I think you look at Dennis Santana, Matson. I mean, these are guys they got off waivers, and this is the back end of your bullpen that you're counting on if you're in close games. Did they pitch well last year? Yes. Will that continue this year? Who knows? So I think there's a lot more questions than answers. I'll give them credit because they did do something more than what they've done in the last decade. They did something, but I don't know if it's enough. I don't think it's enough. And unless they're going to convince us somehow, some way that they're going to legitimately try to re-sign Paul Skeens for the long term, then what they've done now is mediocre. Because if you're not going to keep Skeens beyond the next couple of years, then you better do whatever you have to do to go all in for those next couple of years. And I do not think they did that.
No, I don't think so either. And being all in, you could just tell if they were all in or had the desire to be all in, and they're just not going to, because that would require spending money, and that's anathema to everything they do down there.
Hey, at a salary cap with a floor, they might actually get to keep Paul Skeens.
That's right.
Because a lot of teams are going to have to give pay cuts. They're going to be in trouble financially trying to stay under a cap.
Right.
Pirates won't have to worry about that.
No.
They might be able to give Skeens more than anybody else is able to give him. Real quick, do you want to do an NBA roundup? Anything going on?
Well, it's early in the season, but
Bronny?
Bronny's a great water boy. Actually, Luka and LeBron both had a great game for the Lakers. A lot of L's there the other night. Both had 30.
Luka was angry, though, wasn't he, just a little while ago?
Luka's
Reddick was angry.
Yeah,
Everybody was angry.
Well, Reddick's a podcast host trying to be a coach, so it's tough. But yeah, the Lakers are doing their thing. The Thunder are really good. And you mentioned the WNBA. Their season has not started yet. So when that season gets started, I'll update you on what Caitlin Clark is doing and Angel Reese.
All right. I'll make sure I ask you about it again next week.
Yeah, the NBA is going
it starts
along.
this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, not sure. A lot of coaches fired in the NFL. Going through the list, of course, Brian Callahan before the season was over. John Harbaugh fired by the Ravens. The Raiders fired Pete Carroll. The Giants fired Brian Daboll months ago. Raheem Morris, that was a surprise, I thought, fired by the Falcons. Mike McDaniel today, back to Best Buy as the IT tech there, fired by the Dolphins. I promised TJ I would say that. Jonathan Gannon fired by the Cardinals, and Kevin Stefanski fired by the Browns. The biggest surprises for me are the people that still have jobs, primarily Todd Bowles in Tampa. I thought that was a huge collapse at the end. And Aaron Glenn, maybe you're right, Nick. Maybe nobody else wants that job. I don't know how that guy's still employed.
Jets are useless. Yeah, no interceptions all year by their defense. Not one. How do you not just stumble into one? Awful.
Don't know. We'll talk more about that next week. We might even see some hires being leaked through the wire by that time. All right, not a lot of time left, so let's make our picks of the week. We only have 7 games. We already picked one, so this should make it pretty easy. We'll start with Saturday. The first game, Rams at Panthers. Yeah, I didn't say that wrong. Carolina gets a home game, under 500. Rams favored by 10.5.
Rams will win, but that number is gigantic, so give me the Panthers.
I'm taking the Rams. Anytime Bryce Young is the quarterback on the other team, I'm taking the Rams.
Smart.
Packers at Bears. Packers favored by 1.5.
Yeah, how about that? I like the Bears in this spot. Give me the Bears.
I love the Bears. Odunze is coming back, but I'm taking the Packers. There's something about LaFleur and the craziness that he does. I can't see. The Bears are about a year away.
Yeah.
I think this is the Packers game.
All right.
Sunday, Bills at Jaguars. Buffalo favored by 1.5.
Yeah, the Jags are the better team. They're at home, and the Bills have to win. All the pressure's on them with Josh Allen. He's the best one left. The Bills got to win this game, and they will, I think.
I want so bad to pick the Jaguars. I just don't see how Buffalo wins this game. Like you said, this is the year. If Allen doesn't win it this year, I don't know how he's ever going to do it.
No Mahomes, no
he
Lamar,
has
no
to
Burrow.
win. Has to win. I'm going with Buffalo. 49ers at Eagles. Eagles favored by 4.5.
I like the Niners, but going across a country, they're old and banged up. Give me the Eagles.
I'm not betting against the Eagles in Philly.
No.
Plus, the fans probably wouldn't let them leave the stadium if they lost this game. Niners are banged up. I'm going with Philly. Sunday night football, Chargers at New England. New England favored by 3.5.
Really close, low-scoring game. I think New England wins, but by a field goal. I'll take the Chargers with the 3.5, but I think New England wins.
I've got a bad feeling that the Chargers are going to win this game. Herbert's got a week to rest. They didn't play him last week. Harbaugh's a genius. They have weapons, the running game. I don't like New England's defense. There's no pass rush at all. I think you can rack up yardage against them, but I can't pick against Drake May. Drake May, in my mind, is the MVP of the NFL. And there's other, Stafford. You can go through. Stafford. I think the easy way to do it is hand Stafford comeback player of the year, hand May MVP. But Stafford's never won it, so I know that's a career accolade for him.
Rams have had a much tougher schedule.
But they also have better talent.
They do.
I think that you look at, no one expected New England to be here. I'm going to give all the credit I can to Drake May. I'm taking them in this game. They're going to win. Pittsburgh's going to lose. And then I'm going to come in and gloat like crazy next week.
You're taking New England.
I'm taking New England.
Right.
Yes. That is all the time we have for this week's edition of The Sports Voice. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll be back again next Thursday, 4:15 to 6.
You may have noticed a new internet company knocking at your door with claims like, "I'm not here to sell you anything," or "I wouldn't lie to you." The truth is, Armstrong has played an important role in your community for decades, and we're not going anywhere. That new internet provider will probably change their name, get bought out by another company, or fold completely. Armstrong, the internet you count on, the people you trust. Visit ArmstrongOneWire.com today, or anytime in the future.
The winners are in for the 2025 Best in Fayette contest presented by Nemacolin. You can pick up your free 2025-26 Best in Fayette book at the WMBS Broadcast House, the Uniontown Super 8, Casey Sports Cafe, the Uniontown Shop and Save, Perry Drug, Jackson Farms Dairy Store, Armstrong in Connellsville, the Casino at Nemacolin.